I'm just a girl from Toronto who, on a whim, decided she wanted to live out her cool runnings dreams. And that's where I'm at now.
Have you ever done like an interview just hanging out at the ice house?
Never. This is the first. And I feel like this is a golden opportunity to turn this into a podcast space. So
How's the audio quality?
Sounds good to me. Like,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm like, well, I guess the viewers will have to decide when this comes out.
We've had such a lovely day. Like, it's your off day. You're now back in your high performance training facility, though. Like, what do these four walls feel like when you enter?
Honestly, it feels like home. It's an opportunity, obviously, to come back to the drawing board and see what you can fix, what you can clean up, what you can perfect. But it's been part of my routine for the past 11 seasons now that when it's all said and done, this is probably going to be the one place I miss the most because it's been the one constant place throughout my entire career as a bobsledder.
Is bobsled more a mental or physical game?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both. But the thing is, like, at some point, everyone reaches the same level of physical. And what makes or breaks the good from the great is that mental piece. That's what I've been told. I haven't reached that level yet. So we'll see when this season comes around.
10,000 hours, but like how many times have you pushed a sled down this?
I honestly should have counted. It's funny because when I first started bobsledding, our coaches in Ontario were like, count every run, even if you're a brakeman. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And then when you become a pilot, it's drilled into you to count every run so that you can come back with, okay, I've got 150 runs on this track. I've got a very good sense of knowledge on it. I can't say for certain how many times I've pushed there. I've been pushing in this ice house since February of 2014. Like during the Olympics was when I first came here, and I've been pushing ever since.
That's amazing. And that's like such a good tip though for confidence as
Yeah.
well. Competence allows for confidence, and if you count the tracks,
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, I read it on a poster somewhere.
I'm gonna attribute it to you. Like, you know how in The Office it's like you miss 50% of the shots? Yeah. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Yeah.
When I think of you and your formidable career, you do have such a legacy of helping people and inviting people into the sport that perhaps haven't historically felt all that invited. That must fuel your motivation. You're so much bigger than the sport.
I would like to think so. I remember when I first came into the sport, and I very much felt like I was trying to figure it out on my own. And the girls on the team, tried the best that they could, but a lot of them were Alberta based, so they didn't really have a lot of information about where do you find a spot when you come to Ontario or to Alberta from Ontario, or how much is it going to cost? Like, what's an appropriate rent to pay and all that stuff. And so I have always made it my mission that every new person that comes into this team, that I try and help them however best I can, whether it's connecting them with someone who might have equipment or someone who might have a place to stay, or even if it's just giving them information. Like, just this past weekend, we had a sponsorship lunch, and, I was helping one new athlete that we got coming onto the team this year with best ways that he can leverage his community back home in Ontario so that he can be financially as stable as possible going into an Olympic season. The Olympics are stressful as it is, but then when you've got like finances on top of that, it's even that much harder. So I was like, yeah, like honestly, ask away. I've sent him my template for how I create my sponsorship packages. I sent him what I use as an email starter to like reach out cold calling or cold emails. However, a little way I can help just to make that transition from one sport into bobsleigh that much easier. Yeah, it's the least I can do.
Have you always been like that? What a lovely quality.
I would say no. I think others may say yes. I think it's just something I've always done. I honestly don't remember a time where I didn't help people. And I think it's almost to a fault where I almost overburden myself trying to help people because I want so badly everyone to experience the sport the way I have that I don't want any hurdle to come in their way. But then I also have to remember that I have my journey to also continue onward with. And so I can't save the world, which sucks because you want to. And sometimes you just have to be like, hey, this is where my train stops, and you kind of have to go on with your journey. And I've helped you as best I can. And yeah, I think it's a trait that I've learned over the course of life, and it's coming to bobsleigh now.
You are a leader on this team. Like, what values do you try and provide or lead by example with?
It's interesting because I always feel like I'm not a leader, but people will say that I am.
Mhm.
It's a role that you kind of get thrust in as you become a veteran. Like once you've been on a sport or in a team for long enough, everyone just kind of looks to you as a leader. And I at times have begrudgingly taken on that role, but I do like to lead by example of, there's a level of professionalism that I think I bring when I'm pushing, when I'm sliding, when I'm doing everything. It's always to 100%. Like I never ever want to step on the block and feel like I haven't done everything to prepare myself for that week. And I hope that's something that my teammates do see, whether they agree with me or not. And it's our sport. Our team is very big. And so you're not going to like everyone. You're not going to work well with everyone. But at the end of the day, there is a level of respect that goes around and across the board that I would hope people do see that in me. Yeah, I think I'm more of a lead by example versus, rah, 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 I'm leading the charge at the front of the line kind of person.
How do you balance, like, you're obviously in a team atmosphere, but it is individual in some capacities. I mean,
Hmm.
monobob, like, it's just you and the sled.
Yeah. It's hard. And I remember when Monoball first got announced, I think there was like universal backlash. We were like, the women wanted four women because the team aspect that we see the guys have in four man. I'll speak for myself. I do get a little jealous where I'm like, man, I would love more women in the sport, more teammates, get that actual team aspect. You did get a bit of it in the two women, but sometimes there are hard feelings that you kind of have to bring up because one person on your team is not racing that weekend. So
Mhm.
on a given bobsleigh team on the women's side, you have three people. So you have the pilot, you have a racing brakeman, and then you have the alternate brakeman. The alternate brakeman is on the sidelines on the race weekend. And so that team aspect doesn't go as far as to include that person on the field of play. And I feel like that's where Four Women was going to do that. And now with Monobob, it's even further removed from that team
Mhm.
aspect because it's just the pilot. So the brake women are, they're still lugging the sleds to the line. They're lifting these heavy things. A monobob is not that much lighter than a two man. So a two man sled's 170 kilos. A monobob is 163. So there's only a 3 kilo or 7 kilo difference between the two sleds. But they're helping to load those sleds in and off the trucks, bringing them to the start line. They're polishing our runners. The runners are the blades that we put underneath our sleds,
Mhm.
and they take about 2 to 3 hours per set per sled. So on a race weekend, you've got two sleds, you've got two sets of runners. So you're spending about 6 hours polishing these runners. And in one of those events, you as a brakeman are not competing. And then in another event, as the alternate brakeman, you're also not competing. So it's a hard sport to get yourself in and to really get that buy-in of like, we really are a team. But that's where it's really important to drive home the message that without you, this team does not survive. Like we do not get anywhere without you. And as hard as it is, I've been there. I've been the spare. I was the spare at the Olympic Games in 2018. You really do have to find that piece of like, I contributed to this team's success. I wasn't on the field of play. I didn't push in this race, but I did push in training and I helped give my pilot, the extra reps that they needed so that they could be confident when the time actually came to race. And you just really drive home that message of every person on this team is valuable. No one person is more important than another.
Is that the biggest lesson that came out of PyeongChang?
Coming out of PyeongChang, I was so bitter that I didn't take that lesson from those games. I was so mad by everything that had gone into those games and how I felt I had been slighted because I felt so right in my cause. Like I should have been on that team. And I think it's now looking back with, hindsight of like, no, I did help. It still hurts to think back to those games because I'm like, you'll always have those what ifs. What if I got to race? Like that year I was paired with Christine de Bruin and we were flying on
Mhm.
that track during when we were in Pyeongchang. And I always think, what if we got paired together? Where would we be? Would I still stick as a brakeman? Would I have still decided to be a pilot? You don't know these things. But yeah, looking back, I'm happy with how I contributed to the team as best as I could, knowing that I was contending with a lot of emotions and where there were mistakes that I made 100%. And if I could go back to fix them, I would in a heartbeat. But, you know, learning the value of every member of this team was probably a highlight that I've learned since, continuing on with my journey.
So what's your mindset going into your third Olympics?
Mindset going into third Olympics, enjoy it. Honestly, going into Korea again was really upset, was down in my feelings. Tried to enjoy it as best I could. And funny enough, I was hanging out with the alternate for USA and for Great Britain, and the three of us just became like the little three spare musketeers. And we got some experiences that none of our other teammates got to experience because they had to be dialed in with the Olympics. And then flash forward to Beijing, you know, we're in the midst of the pandemic. We couldn't travel. We couldn't go to a lot of the other venues. And so it just felt like a not real Olympics, even though it was. And so I think these games, as different as they will be, because we are very much spread out compared to previous games, I'm going to try and enjoy these games as best I can. I've got my sisters coming out, their friends are coming out, and I just want to have fun. I think that was the missing piece from last Olympics was that I had fun during the World Cup season, and then by the time I got to the games, I wasn't having fun anymore.
You're too stressed?
I was just too stressed.
Yeah. Isn't that fascinating?
Yep.
Like, it's like we're always like, we're going to be just totally like locked and loaded for the Olympics. And it's so overwhelming at times.
Yes.
That I actually find it funny because I had to bring like a few DVDs. Like I watched Notting Hill in both Olympics. I watched Homeward Bound at both Olympics.
Great movie.
Because I needed like something that just unplugged from skating and the stress. Do you have something like that?
I have to learn to be off my phone. I think that's my biggest problem right now is like TikTok consumes a lot of hours on my phone.
I gotta ask, what's on your For You page?
Oh man, right now it's like that Hamilton, like all the ladies dressing up as like Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
I know Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah. I'm gonna send it to you. Okay. A lot of my For You page is like informational, so I do learn a lot. It's not just like mindless scrolling, but sometimes you do need to like balance that with the silly stuff too.
I almost don't believe you though, like mindless scrolling, because I've said it before, but you're one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Thanks.
Like you are also the biggest Jeopardy fan.
I'm a huge Jeopardy fan.
You love trivia.
I do.
Is that your happy place?
It is, actually. Now that I think about it, it's one of those things that when I'm bored or I've got some free time, I'll just go on YouTube and I'll find old episodes of Jeopardy, or there's a UK show called Mastermind. I'll watch that. My sisters and I for Christmas we'll watch Big Fat Quiz of the Year, which is a huge thing in our house. So yeah, like trivia is just like a family thing. It's an Appiah family tradition, and I think I'm just the one weirdo who's just a little too intent about it.
If you were on Jeopardy, what would your ideal category be?
If I were on Jeopardy, geography for sure.
Oh boy.
I love geography.
I don't mind it, but I don't know if I'm very good at it.
Oh, like all the like capitals of the world, the names of countries. Like, okay, this is how you know I'm a nerd. So there's a website called Sporkle.
I know this.
You know Sporkle. Okay, so there is a quiz called Map of the World or Countries of the World. And you have, I think, like 12 minutes to name every single country in the world. And that's what I do for fun. And I try and like beat my time. I usually get to 195.
Well, because 200
Well, on that website, they only have 197 or 198.
Who are you missing?
So I always forget one of the stands. So whether it's like Tajikistan, and then I always forget Grenada, and I don't know why. Like I'll go through the Caribbean, I'm like, what am I missing? I've got all the countries. And it'll show up in red, and it's like Grenada. I'm like, that's it.
Okay.
Forgot it.
Sorry.
I'm sorry if there's any Grenadians watching this right now. I'm so sorry. I will not forget your country anymore.
I do love a trivia game though, like perhaps over a beverage.
Yes.
That's a fun time.
I need to get into like bar trivia. Like I don't know, it's fun when you go in groups. So like I'll go with my sisters. We'll go into like this one particular place in downtown Toronto. But going by yourself is so nerve-wracking, and I don't know why.
That's definitely a powerful decision. Yes.
Yeah.
Just showing up to Monday Night Trivia by yourself. I would go to trivia any day with you, though. But...
Oh, thanks. You know what? Honestly, when I'm back in Toronto, we got to go to where I go for trivia.
We will make it. So how are you going to, like, attribute or bring in something like trivia that makes you feel that good at the games?
You know what? There's a book that Ken Jennings, who's the host of Jeopardy, recommends that if you're ever on the show, to read up on this, and it's called The Dictionary of Cultural Literacy. And I actually just borrowed it from the library here. I've been going through it, and it basically is like a Cole's Notes breakdown of every single thing. So like right now I'm reading through the Bible, and like what all the names of the Bibles are and what the main stories of the Bible is and all that stuff. And then eventually it's going to move into Greek mythology, and then, all the, Greek gods and goddesses, and, why they're important, or what their story is. So I'm just going to like read through that.
You have so much knowledge in your brain. I might need to borrow that book.
Yeah, honestly.
Have you ever been like driving down in your sled and had any random thoughts like pop into your brain?
For the sake of my brakeman, no. But honestly, like, I'm so laser focused, especially on race day. I am just thinking, get into the flow state. Don't even think about the steers you're doing, because you want it to feel like second nature. You want to just be like, your body knows what it's doing and you're just following along. On a training day, I will see the coaches as they're sticking their iPads. Lyndon Rush is by far the worst for this. Like, he will stick his iPad so far into the track and you're like, I'm going to hit you. And you have 4 kids and I don't want to have to break the news to them. Like, please step off the wall. But like, you'll see them. You're like, okay, Lyndon's there a little too far into the corner, but whatever. There's Rush, Spring is a coach now. So you'll pick up on those things. I remember the one year I knew I had made it as a pilot. It was the first time a German coach had filmed me. And I was like, oh, the Germans are watching my lines. Yep. I've made it. Yep. I've made it as a pilot.
I get it. It's the same for the Dutch in speed skating. Do you think about when all is said and done? Like,
I've been asked that question a lot more now than obviously in recent years. Going into Beijing, I don't think anyone even considered it. But you reach a certain age and people are like, hey, do you want to get on with life? And I'm like, no. Because everyone who's left sport has always told me, stick to it as long as you can. It gets worse from here. And I'm like, geez, okay, well, why would I leave? It's going to be a decision I make after next season. I've committed myself to next year for sure. Lillehammer will be hosting World Championships. And I've had such a great time there that if I wanted that to be my swan song, I think that would be a great place. But it'll be a year by year case thing. Yeah.
That's a great answer. And I'm in no capacity asking like, hey, are you thinking of retiring? But
all good.
I feel like so many people have followed your story over the years. What would you just love Canadians to take away from who you are and how you live your life?
I'm just a girl from Toronto who, on a whim, decided she wanted to live out her Cool Runnings dreams. And that's where I'm at now. What I want people to know is you can start your life at any point in time, and don't get caught in the trap of you're not young enough. It's too late. Because I've been told that so many times. Like, I remember in high school, I wanted to be an actor, and like one of my teachers was like, you're too old. I was like, bro, I'm like 14. But like, it's one of those things where like I made the national team in bobsleigh when I was 25 years old.
Wow.
I'm now going into my 11th season. Like, your life can start at any point in time. And like, who knows, maybe there's someone who's in their 40s and they start their life now, or someone who's in their 50s or 60s, or they're in their teens. Like, you can dictate where you want your life to go. And as long as you've got the right support system, honestly, the world really is your oyster, as cliche as that sounds.
Were you actually inspired by Cool Runnings?
I was. I remember watching it and I was like, this is cool. And then I just like went into the back of my mind. I was like, never again. And then I actually was inspired by, and I say this all the time, and I'll never, ever not tell the story. I was inspired by Shelly-Ann Brown. Watching her compete at the Vancouver 2010 games, I never had seen Black people at the Winter Games. And for the longest time, I thought it was just not a thing that Black people do. Yeah. And seeing her there and seeing her win that silver medal, I was just like, oh, wait. I've been putting my own blocker. I've been putting my own ceiling on my definition of success. Why not try going into this new realm of sport? And like clockwork, like literally the following summer was when I tried out for Ontario bobsleigh, and I've never looked back.
Shelly-Ann wouldn't remember me, but she is such a beauty. I remember how she treated people too. Like,
yes.
Unbelievable.
She's like, I've met her a couple of times. I've gone out to lunch with her a couple of times, and she's just such a sweetheart. And if you ask any of the coaches now, they'll say the exact same thing. And she's someone that I would really love for her to come back into the sport in some way, whether it's as a mentor, whether it's as a coach, or even just like, pop in and, have a friendly face to talk to every once in a while. From my experiences with her, she's just been a beaut.
She is a beauty, and you are a beauty, and you're doing exactly what she did. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
I have a cool running story. That was like when they're running across the bridge.
Yeah.
I was a child with my mom, and we were like, "That's John Candy." And Anita Busis, like, I don't know, they're probably in the middle of a scene. She was like, "John," and he was so gracious, and he was exactly how you'd want him
I
to
heard
be.
he was such
Like,
a nice guy.
It's just, yeah, like that's a fun movie that inspired so many people to just get up into the Winter Olympics.
Honestly, like,
Yeah.
I love the legacy of the 88 games. Obviously, I've benefited immensely from it. I hope we continue on with the legacy of the 88 games. It's unfortunate that a lot of these buildings are starting to fall apart and they're not being maintained well. We're on the brink of losing the 88 games legacy, and Calgary will cease to be known as a winter sport city. And that's the biggest issue with me. And if there's one last thing I can do with my career, it's to stop that from happening. Like, I think that would be my next pet passion project, is to try and keep our legacy builds up and running so that the next generation of bobsledders and speed skaters and whoever comes into this city will have a place to actually slide and train on.
It's beautiful. Can you show me that Hamilton?
Yeah, here we go.
For you, Paige.
I can't believe you've never seen this. I just need to write something down.
How did they get these amazing costumes?
That's what everyone's wondering. It's like, how is it all these women have founding fathers costumes?